afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on This Is Now. I'm Dylan Ancheta alongside Mark Carpenter in the H&N Digital Center. We begin today with emotional testimony on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, a very powerful day in Washington. Family members of those who died in the Uvalde school massacre made their voices heard at a meeting examining gun violence. Skylar Henry has more.
Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee opened a hearing on gun violence with a recording of the shots fired inside Robb Elementary School that killed 10-year-old Tess Mata and 20 others.
She will never graduate high school, never fall in love herself, never be present at my wedding. And we will never know how scared she was in her last moments in that classroom.
Tess's older sister, Faith, described her bright younger sister, but wanted answers from lawmakers about what brought her there.
Are we not tired of hearing the stories of victims? Of hearing them from victims' families? Are we not tired of hearing yet another tragedy because of gun violence? When is enough enough?
While Mata delivered emotional testimony, committee members on both sides of the aisle stuck to their gun control talking points.
Without an assault weapons ban, more people will die. And if we're not going to ban them, then law enforcement must be trained to confront these weapons of war.
There's only one solution for my friends across the aisle, and that is to emasculate the Second Amendment and remove guns from legal, lawful, and law-abiding citizens.
Lawmakers also heard from the ER doctor on duty when the Uvalde victims were brought in.
You should know, they didn't get buried looking sweet and happy like their photos. Some were missing limbs, some had holes in their tiny chests. You might mistakenly imagine a funeral where a child lies peacefully in a colorful coffin. But make no mistake, there's no peace in the death of a child by a weapon of war.
Congress did pass stricter gun control laws in June following the Uvalde massacre. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
People sickened by the Red Hill water crisis can start making an appointment at a special military clinic starting December 27th. The military says this is for those enrolled in the Defense Enrollment Eligibility Reporting System, also known as DEERS. To make an appointment, patients can call 800-874-2273. That's starting December 27th. According to Congressman Ed Case and Kai Kahele, the clinic itself is expected to open on January 3rd. It'll be at the Makalapa Health Clinic on Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. About 6,000 people have said they were sickened by the fuel-tainted drinking water. Many of them have told us they're still dealing with lingering symptoms.
Mr. Tuputala, do you understand the charges against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
This matter is assigned to Judge Somerville for jury trial the week of February 13, 2023.
That's Eva Beach murder suspect Patrick Tuputala waving to the camera in his virtual court appearance this morning. He's accused of fatally shooting 57-year-old Philip Hughes, the property manager of his girlfriend's townhome in Eva Beach. Tuputala pleaded not guilty and is being held on $1 million bail. He's scheduled to return to court in late February. Kaneohe murder suspect William Bell was also scheduled to appear in court this morning, but declined to attend. He's the man indicted for the murder of 77-year-old Mike Chu, a security guard at the Windward City Shopping Center. His arraignment proceeding has been tentatively rescheduled for next week. Alleged crime boss Michael Miske is facing 2 new counts of obstruction of justice. Federal prosecutors say Miske had someone create fake or altered character reference letters advocating that he be released from jail. That's according to a superseding indictment handed down by a grand jury. Miske already pleaded not guilty to 17 charges, including allegations that he hired a hitman to kill his son's friend. His trial is set for next April.
An unlicensed preschool on Hawaii Island that was forced to shut down partially over lead concerns will remain closed throughout the new year. Our Allison Blair joins us now with the latest details. Allison?
Yeah, Dylan, for the past month and a half, the State Department of Human Services and Kalama PE Play School have been in court just about every week. From the beginning, the judge in the case, Peter Kubota, made it clear he wanted the state to work with the school in hopes it could reopen due to the extreme need for early childhood education in Hilo. So he ordered both sides to work together in an effort to get the preschool its license, even appointing a mediator to help. But that license has yet to be issued. Right now, the state is seeking more proof lead contamination has been properly dealt with. But instead of dealing directly with the school's executive director, the state is now dealing with the property owner as well after the school's lease came into question. All sides were in court earlier this week.
Mr. Rock, as well as his partner of Sagoda Rock Holdings, have been in negotiation to extend the lease. We are looking to see the extent of the DOH remediation plan. There is an environmental firm that went out to the school today, met with Mr. Rock and Ms. Pierce. We hope to have that plan tentatively by January 7th, 2023. And we are going to be meeting relatively soon to have a formal mediation effort to see if we can firm up the lease between the landlords and the school.
The issue with lead isn't unique to Kalama PE Play School. Environmental hazard management plans have been established at least 18 other schools on the east side of Hawaii Island. The school's closure is leaving scores of Hawaii Island parents in limbo at a time where childcare is extremely difficult to find. The next court date is set for January 24th. Allison Blair, Hawaii News Now.
The man accused of assaulting House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband will stand trial. In a preliminary hearing, a San Francisco judge found there was enough evidence to move the case forward. Prosecutors laid out extensive evidence, including the hammer David DePape allegedly used, and an officer testified that DePape said he planned to target other people, including California Governor Gavin Newsom, Hunter Biden, and Tom Hanks. DePape is facing several charges, including attempted murder, battery, and assault at the state level. He'll be formally arraigned later this month.
We're getting an exclusive look inside Arizona's Saguaro prison, the facility meant to ease Hawaii's inmate housing crisis. Arlen Kawano flew there and tells us why some inmates prefer that facility over those here in Hawaii.
In the middle of the desert, in southern Arizona, is a sprawling complex of single-story buildings with tall fences and guard shacks. This is the Saguaro Correctional Center, where 1,000 Hawaii inmates are currently housed. For decades, the state has contracted privately run mainland facilities to keep the inmate numbers down. Saguaro opened in 2007 to accommodate our growing prison population. Unlike most Hawaii jails, Saguaro is not overcrowded. This housing pod is empty. It holds up to 120 prisoners. The living areas are clean. Murals decorate the walls, and there are a lot of job training programs that are not offered at home.
I think this is the best place compared to the others I've been in. It's just a little bit more structured. There's a little bit more freedom, a lot more programming.
It felt more rehabilitative than the facilities we have here.
Kristen Johnson is the coordinator of the state's Correctional System Oversight Commission.
When I'm talking to individuals who are at Saguaro, a lot of them actually prefer to be there because the conditions are so horrible here.
The jails on Oahu, Maui, and in Hilo exceed capacity. Staffing shortages and equipment failures have all led to inmate unrest. Hawaii taxpayers have spent millions on repairs and lawsuits.
Well, settlement has been reached in a class action suit between Hawaii inmates and the State Department of Public Safety.
The judge has ordered the state to pay nearly $1.4 million.
Hawaii's Department of Public Safety should be doing more to prevent suicide behind bars.
And if conditions don't improve, federal oversight could follow. That's millions more. But money isn't the only reason Johnson says the public should pay attention.
The vast majority of these people are going to come back out and be your neighbor. For me, I would rather have somebody who's received therapy, who's received programming, who's received education.
Housing prisoners in Arizona is also much cheaper. Currently, the state pays $247 per inmate per day in a Hawaii facility. At Saguaro, that cost is about $110 per day. So it's nearly $140 less to house them in Arizona, provide medical treatment, services, and cover administrative costs. While Saguaro saves the state money and provides a better lifestyle for those behind bars, distance is the downfall. Prisoners are 3,000 miles from home and loved ones.
That is difficult. That is very difficult because I have 4 children that I'm fathering through the phones.
Distance is the reason inmate advocates want to see a new facility completed on Oahu, but that is on hold for now due to funding, which means Hawaii prisoners with longer sentences will continue to be sent to Saguaro.
Joining us now for an in-depth talk about her ongoing series is our chief investigative reporter, Lynn Kawano. Lynn, these series of stories that you're putting together is really fascinating, and tonight's story actually talks about Oahu Correctional, or OCCC. Let's start with some background here. OCCC is overcrowded, dated, and needs to be rebuilt. Why has it not been?
Yeah, right. It is so overcrowded, right? 4 to a cell that's meant for 2. Some people sleeping on the floor. It's just not good. It's not conducive to help with rehabilitation. And most of the people here actually are pretrial detainees, meaning they haven't even had their trials yet. They do have some people who have been sentenced, but less than a year. So it's not a long-term facility for these people, but it still needs to be a better facility for these people. It's just not working. So far, we have determined, the governor's determined that the site is going to be at the animal quarantine site in Halava, so we know that. But really, not much has been done. We went out there, and that's part of the story that airs tonight. We went out there with the current new Director of Corrections, Tommy Johnson. He talks a little bit about it, and he says it is just all on hold. Everything is on hold due to funding. They asked for $15 million last year from the legislature to start planning, to get things off the ground. They were denied. And so that's where they are right now. They're waiting, and they really just have to get that money in the next legislative session so that they can move forward.
Yeah, we do have a new governor now, and the legislative session will be starting in January. Looking forward, do you think they will get any movement on this funding request?
I do think that this has got to be a priority. What happened last session was part of it, they wanted to deal with bail reform because, as I said, a lot of these are pretrial detainees, so bail is an issue, right? And when we have people in there with $25 bail, they're really not that dangerous, obviously. If not, a judge would make their bail higher. So the overcrowding just kind of continues. They wanted to deal with bail reform bills, and that was a huge controversy and really did not move forward. So I do think that they'll at least make a good case to get that $15 million so that they can start planning, they can start designing, and they can get it off the ground. Originally, they were supposed to be breaking ground already on this jail, and it was probably going to be completed by the end of next year. So, of course, who knows when that's actually going to happen.
So some significant delays here. One more question for you. Put this into some context for us. If OCCC is rebuilt, would that mean Hawaii would no longer have to send prisoners all the way to Arizona?
It is kind of an apples to oranges here because OCCC is a jail and Saguaro is the prison. Halava is not overcrowded at the moment, so we could take some of those prisoners back. The problem is that's 1,000 prisoners at Saguaro right now. So, you know, it's one of those things where OCCC holds lower sentenced prisoners. But yeah, absolutely. You know, if you think about it, if we build a new jail, if we build OCCC, but we make it so it's expandable and perhaps can ease some of the burden off of the other jails, but also help take things away from Halava, take people away from Halava. It is possible, but not in the near term. I mean, we're talking 10 years down the road at the very least.
Got it. Well, Chief Investigative Reporter Lynn Kawano joining us here to talk more. Part 2 of her series, Inside Saguaro Prison, airs tonight on Hawaii News Now at 6 o'clock. Lynn, thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission says there are nearly 200 Christmas-related injuries each holiday season. Wendy Gillette explains.
The holidays turned tragic in a neighborhood outside of Philadelphia last year. Early Christmas morning, crews battled a 2-story house fire. A mother and 1 son escaped, but the father and 2 children who were trapped inside died. Investigators believe a faulty electric star on top of a dry Christmas tree sparked the fire. This demonstration from the Consumer Product Safety Commission shows just how dangerous a dry tree can be. The tree on the left has been watered regularly. 30 seconds after being lit, it smolders out. The tree on the right is dry. The flames spread quickly, and in a matter of seconds, the room is engulfed in flames.
Around Christmas, we see a lot of hazards associated with decorating.
Alex Hohen-Sarek is the chair of the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission and says candles also pose a danger. In this demonstration, a misplaced candle on a menorah ignites the curtains. And every year, thousands of people get hurt putting up decorations.
What are the most common injuries you see at Christmas time?
We do see a lot of falls associated with ladders and people using them to put up decorations.
Decorations need to be double-checked for defects. Lights shouldn't have any frayed wires or loose sockets. Making sure they don't can prevent a tragedy this holiday season. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, New York.
If you're shipping presents out of Hawaii, the deadline to get your presents in the mail is fast approaching. Our Casey Lund tells us how much time is left.
Aloha from the distribution facility here at the airport post office. This is where all the mail for our state comes in. And I want to show you this assembly line really quickly. I guess I shouldn't call it an assembly line, more of a sorting line. And a big shout out and mahalo to the men and women of the United States Postal Service, many of them working very long hours and some of them giving up their holidays to make sure that yours are brighter and that the ones you love get the gifts that you sent on time. I'm going to give you the details on those shipping dates coming up in just a minute. First, I want to talk to Rodney Talvella, and I want to step out of the way, Rodney, so we can still see a little of this. First of all, give me an idea of what we're looking at here, this particular sorting line. What's happening?
What's happening right now is we're processing the mail that's been flown in from the continental U.S. So all these packages that are being processed right now is going to be delivered today to our friends and family here in Hawaii.
Tell me just a little bit about volume, what you would see right now. We're kind of in the thick of the holiday season. I imagine it's a lot more packages, but give me an idea of how that would differ during regular operations during the summer or something like that.
Yeah, during our regular operations, we're looking at about maybe 80,000 pieces a day. Right now, during peak season, we're doing about 200,000 pieces a day.
Absolutely kind of stunning numbers when you think about it. And what can you say about your team here? I know that you're the manager of the distribution center here. They are really giving it their all, and a lot of them working long hours.
Definitely, and I'm just blessed and grateful that we have such employees that really give up their time and their holidays to make sure that our friends and families get their packages on time.
Very good. And speaking of getting those packages on time, I want to put up the details on your screen really quickly here for those shipping dates from Hawaii to the U.S. mainland. You want to get those shipped by December 17th. And then if you use Priority Express, though, you can wait and procrastinate until the 21st. From Hawaii locally here, the first class and priority dates December 21st, and then Priority Express, you can wait until December 22nd. But given that we do have some inclement weather on the mainland, it might be best to get that taken care of early. And we also want to remind you have until December 19th to join in on Operation Santa. You can help Santa out by adopting a local keiki and making their Christmas wishes come true. Reporting from the U.S. Postal Service at the airport, I'm Casey Lund for Hawaii News Now.
Thank you very much, Casey, for that report. Yes, everyone, get your holiday presents in the mail, please, if you want to get them to your loved ones on time.
I always tell myself I'm going to get it done early.
Don't
and then
procrastinate.
The next thing you know, it's the 23rd, and it's going to be a holiday present, okay? Not necessarily a Christmas present.
Yes, that counts. This is a live look outside at Kaka'ako. It is a nice and cool 79 degrees out there tonight. Beautiful day outside. Sunset's happening at 5:52, and while today may be beautiful, tomorrow could be a very different story. Our Guy Hoggy has your first alert forecast.
We've got two fronts on the way. This front will be hitting Kauai by this afternoon, moving down the island chain from tonight through tomorrow. So tomorrow looks to be the wettest day, maybe even some isolated thunderstorms. Not everybody's going to get swamped, but some people will see a fair bit of rain. Saturday, it eases up. Then on Sunday, another juicier front moves in with more widely scattered showers out there, maybe some heavy downpours as well through Sunday evening. Kauai clears out by the afternoon, though. That's good news for that Hokuala Timbers golf tournament. And then on Monday, maybe some heavy rainfall will still be lingering around for the east end of the state. And then by Tuesday, things start to clear up. So get ready for some wet weather over the next few days. Get those umbrellas out, especially tomorrow and again on Sunday and Monday. And also with those storms, we got big swells coming in on Friday and again between Monday and Tuesday. Also look for strengthening southwesterly Kona Kauai winds is what my dad used to call them. They're coming out of the southwest, and it's going to bring some sticky conditions along with the rain and the wind.
The final 3 episodes of Harry and Meghan were released Thursday. The controversial Netflix documentary details the couple's struggles since their 2018 wedding and their eventual split from the royal family in 2020. In one of the latest episodes, Harry describes a tense meeting with his brother, father, and grandmother as he was trying to navigate his role going forward, a role where he and Meghan would have their own jobs but still work in support of the crown. He said his brother screamed at him as his grandmother sat quietly, taking it all in. Harry said he and Meghan soon realized they couldn't remain in their positions. They cited constant hounding from the press and the palace's disregard for the couple's well-being. The final episode shows the pair flying to Los Angeles, having completed their final royal engagements, a moment Harry called their freedom flight.
Well, after 13 years, the sequel to one of the highest-grossing films of all time returns to theaters. Avatar: The Way of Water will be released at midnight tonight. Kevin Frazier of Entertainment Tonight caught up with the cast.
There are a lot of familiar faces returning to Pandora, and a couple of new ones too, including Oscar winner Kate Winslet, who learned how to hold her breath for 7 minutes to shoot her amazing underwater scenes.
I would just hang there in the water, you keep your eyes open. I'd make lists in my mind, but you'd have to be careful not to make too many comprehensive, complicated lists, because that also takes brain power. It's a whole Zen thing, actually.
We were 30 feet underwater, so it was free diving. And then wait for Jim to call action.
Did Kate come in at any time and just say hold my beer, y'all, let me show y'all how to do this?
She's an icon.
This
She's a master.
Let's get it done.
Reunited and it feels so good?
It does.
You make it sound like Sonny and Cher.
I mean, kinda.
Yeah.
We are the Sonny and Cher of Pandora.
I hope not. But
Joy Saldana and Sam Worthington return as Jack Sully and Natiri, who now have a family and are forced to leave their home after they are attacked by human invaders. Box office expectations are high for director James Cameron's sequel, and it's already receiving award buzz.
The movie got recognition from the Golden Globes, 2 nominations, one for Jim and one for Best Picture Drama. Your thoughts about it?
I'm very happy. He put a lot of thought and work and love into this, and a lot of time. It's a proof that everything that is done with love can be recognized by many.
Hey, make sure you tune into ET tonight, because Harry and Meghan's docuseries drops its biggest reveals yet. Is the royal rift now beyond repair? For Entertainment Tonight, I'm Kevin Frazier.
Thank you so much for that report, Kevin. It's time to check on some good news now. Mark, do you know what day it is today?
Oh, I know it's Friday Eve, so yeah, it's a great Thursday.
But even better, it is National Cupcake Day. How delicious. While cakes have been around for centuries, cupcakes first came around in the 19th century. It likely started as a way for people who wanted to obviously eat a cake, but not the full cake. And I was doing some Googling earlier this morning, and the idea behind making tiny cakes was actually elaborated in American Cookery, a 1796 cookbook by Amelia Simmons. However, the word cupcake itself didn't come around until 1828. And of course, here in America, they didn't pick up in popularity until 1919, when Hostess introduced commercial cupcakes. And Mark, do you know what one of the most popular flavors for cupcakes is? Take a wild guess.
Well, it's got to be chocolate, right?
Chocolate is one of them, but according to what I found online, plain old vanilla. You can't go wrong with some vanilla.
And I feel like, we've really come a long way with the cupcake design. I feel like
Yes.
they've really picked up and gotten better over the years,
It's
too.
quite elaborate these days. So support your local bakery on this Cupcake Day. We're going to send you outside live for one more look over Kaka'ako. We want to thank you all so much for joining us here on This Is Now. Mark Carpenter is back at 4 o'clock on KHNL, and I'm Dylan Ancheta alongside him in the Digital Center. Aloha.